Hello, beautiful people, and I haven't put my microphone in. Oh dear. Let me get my microphone going. Yeah, one of those days. One of those days. Let me know who's watching. Give me a like if you can. Sorry, this is going to make a noise as I clip it. Let's see, get this right. I'd like it to be centered. Doesn't always happen that way. Oh, no, that's wrong. Sorry, guys. There we go. That's a bit better. So how are you all doing? Let me know in the chat. If you are watching, please give me a like. That really helps with the algorithm if you give me a like. So I'm reading comments off of my old computer because I've got a load of stuff to go through today that I'd like to talk about. Also, guys, if there's anything you want to talk about, perhaps you've got an interesting take on things or a story that you would like me to chat about, let me know and I'll have a look. Sorry, I'm messing with my teeth because I've just had my tea. I did brush them, but yeah. So, Sunday evening, 6 p.m. Wow, what fresh hell has this week brought us? Chaos, lots of intercourse issues. I've seen a pagan issue that I'm going to talk about. Audio and visual fine. Thank you so much, Billy. Thank you. I see you put a badger, and I know that that's Graham's thing, and I know that One Angry Pagan does it as well. I want to use a unicorn cat. That's my unicorn cat. But anyway, you can put badgers up. It's fine. So yeah, this week has been full of hell. Full of hell. Before I go into that, though, I just want to talk about my running. Just quickly, because of all the people that sponsored me over the last month for the Cat Protection Fund. And I'm so grateful to all of you for the sponsor. I really, really appreciate it. I'll be closing that down in the next couple of days, and I will be posting my link to the cancer research page that I am raising money for the month of June. The cancer research 10K that I'm doing is at the end of June on the 29th. It's a Sunday, I think. Is it a Sunday? Yeah, it's a Sunday. Got my calendar here trying to work out when I need my cat sitter. So I'll be doing that run. I won't be able to film. I'll be going on my own unless a friend of mine decides they want to go with me. But yeah, so I shall just be reporting after I've finished. Maybe I'll do a bit of filming before the start of the race. I don't know yet. We'll see. I've got a load of stuff going on this month, though. I'm away this coming weekend, visiting my mum because my sister's on holiday. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a live next Sunday. And then I am coming back on the Wednesday. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a live on the Tuesday. And then Wednesday is full moon, so I won't be doing a live then. Then the following Sunday, I'm at a hand fasting on that Saturday and Sunday. Depending on what time I get back, I may be able to go live. I'm not sure. Then on the 17th of June, I am going to see Nine Inch Nails. Yay. Can't wait for that. Can't wait for that. That is going to be absolutely awesome. And then that weekend, the 21st and 22nd, is Litha or Midsummer. So it's the summer solstice. I'm not going away, so I will do a live on that Sunday. So I'll keep you all updated. That Tuesday the 17th, obviously I won't be able to do a live. Hi Scott, lovely to see you. Guys, if you are there, give us a like and please share if you can on your other social media platforms that you use. I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea and that's okay, it doesn't bother me. And then on the 29th, obviously I'm doing the 10K. Depending on how exhausted I am, I might go live, I might not. So we'll see. I mean, I run pretty much, 7Ks is my longest that I'm doing at the moment. Sorry, guys, my strap on my shoe is loose. So an extra 3Ks shouldn't be too bad for me. But there's going to be 2 days before that where I don't actually run. That is because I need to rest my muscles and carbo load. So I did mention that I bought a running vest. This is the vest. I've been wanting one for a while, and I thought I'd try this one. It smells a bit, yeah, it's neoprene. Neoprene always stinks. But it's actually quite comfortable. It's got these things on the side that you can tighten it, which is good because it would have been too big otherwise. It's got a pocket for your key. That's where I'll be putting my inhaler. It's got a thing at the back for a water bladder. So that'll go in there. I will be having to get a water bladder separate. The one that, this one didn't come with one, so I'll be getting one separate. Then it's got a space for your water bottle there. And the water bottle that comes with it is actually recyclable plastic. It's made from recyclable material. So it's like this soft material. It fits 500 mils. The only thing is that I found is that when it's getting empty, the top folds over like that and it sort of bounces. So that's a bit annoying. So I'm going to have to try and see how I can remedy that. And then it's got a pocket at the front that I can use to put tissues in, pocket on the other side, another one I could put another water bottle in there, and a zip up pocket here for my phone. So there's plenty of space for everything to go in with my running vest. So I used it yesterday for the first time. It was a bit humid yesterday when I was running, so that was a bit like, so hopefully on race day, it won't be humid and maybe it'll be raining. I tend to run better in the rain. That's just my personal preference. Hi, Steffi, lovely to see you. Thank you so much. Steffi is my moderator. Steffi, if you see anything that is rude, sweary, or derogatory, please delete it. You can do that. However, if we do get any tater tots on here or any manosphere men, I am very happy to have a conversation with them, have that discourse with them, as long as they're polite. And I do say that on a lot of my videos. Unfortunately, I was asked today, am I on drugs? And I was told innocent until proven guilty. And I said, you obviously didn't watch the whole video, because that's what I said. It was actually just a clip from my video that I recorded the other day. So I made it into a short. I do have a lot of shorts coming up over the next couple of weeks, but I just like to release clips as well. Hi, Naveen, lovely to see you. Tater tots, yeah, that's the nickname that they get. Something that I did want to, I'm going to start with Russell Brand, but no, actually I'll start with Andrew Tate, why not, and then go on to Russell Brand. So he has just increased the cost for joining his university, which is now known as the, what's it called now? It's not Hustlers University anymore. I can't remember the blooming name of it. It's just gone, pew, out of my head. Start with the ugly. Yeah, starting with the ugly, Scott. Quite a few ugly. Quite a few ugly, actually. 3 uglies. Well, 4 uglies as well. 5, if you count Taco. But anyway. So, yeah, he has increased the price for his university access from $49.50 up to $99. And you can learn how to mow a lawn, how to rake leaves, how to use a pressure washer, and oh, what was the other thing? I can't remember now. But these are the things that you are going to pay to learn about. Yeah, how to mow a lawn, how to rake leaves. I really, really do feel sorry for these guys who, you know, fall for this con artist, for this snake oil salesman, because that's what he is. I really, really, really do feel sorry for them. They are being suckered into paying for access to this university online university where they will get some sort of certification or degree. And they're paying this $99 a month. And I just think, you know, wouldn't you rather go and pay for your course through an actual registered university and learn something that is, you know, worthy of learning, rather than how to mow a lawn? You could ask your, you know, your dad, if you don't have a dad, you know, your uncle or a neighbour, how to mow a lawn. It's fairly simple. You start the lawnmower, mine's electric. You start the lawnmower and you mow up and down the lawn, and you empty the thing, and, you know, simple. Raking leaves. I don't rake my leaves. I have 2 massive sycamore trees in my garden, and I have a few other different kinds of trees as well. And I just leave the leaves because the worms eat it and create soil. So why would anybody want to, you know, rake leaves? Pressure washing. It's a hose pipe. It's a hose pipe that has fast water. You know, really, it's not a massively difficult task to do. So yeah, Scott, gently, catchy, monkey format, mow the lawn to pimping in 10 easy steps. Yeah, but they have to pay for each level. That's another thing. I'm going to post afterwards the info about that as a post, and you can have a look at that online. I do not pay for access to the university because I'm not going to give that creature, that predator, any of my money. Somebody else does, and we sort of share that information. I got a comment today as well from one of my subs saying that Gadget is a guy that I do talk about a lot. He's Australian. He does a lot of reporting on the Tates. We made her day, so that makes me happy. As long as I can make somebody's day. So, Andrew Tate, there we go. Let's find his rubbish now. Oh no, that's Russell Brand, sorry. Andrew Tate. I did have, there we go. There we go. So just to refresh, this article is from The Independent. I did use an article from the BBC the other day. This article is from The Independent, and it is: lawyers say Andrew Tate and brother Tristan will return to the UK to face grape and trafficking charges. It's the story by Jane Dalton, and it's 2 days ago. I've been trying to find more updated information, but it is a weekend. However, there is a clip of a video that I'm going to play the audio of in a moment. So social media influencers Andrew and Tristan will return to Britain to defend themselves against charges including grape and trafficking. So the Crown Prosecution Service has confirmed this, and it was really funny because I got a comment on my video saying, oh, don't trust the BBC, and it's like, it's nothing to do with the BBC. It's the Crown Prosecution Service that has actually, you know, issued a warrant for their arrest, for them to appear in court. Trip, hi Trip, it's fine, don't worry, you're not too late. You can always go back and listen on double speed and hear me speak like a chipmunk. But basically I'm talking about the Tates, one of my favourite subjects to discuss. So Andrew Tate, 38, faces 10 charges relating to 3 women that include grape, actual bodily harm, human trafficking and controlling prostitution for gain, prosecutors said, which is pimping. Tristan, 36, faces 11 charges relating to 1 woman that include grape, human trafficking and actual bodily harm. I did see footage from a right-wing influencer yesterday, and it was quite interesting. I'm going to try and find that and link it onto my watch list for Andrew Tate. And he's quite a big guy, quite a buff guy, not Joe Rogan, another guy. And he brought up P. Diddy, Russell Brand and Andrew Tate. And his comments were these guys are all rich, so, they're being picked on because they're rich. Nothing to do with the crimes that they've alleged to have committed. Steffi, so the university teaches really useful stuff as opposed to time-wasting subjects such as life skills, budgeting, relationship building, art, sciences, maths, literature. Yeah, exactly, Steffi. Mowing the lawn. Obviously that's a difficult thing for people to do. Hi, Jessica, lovely to see you. Thanks for joining. Really lovely to see you. Can I just remind everybody that I do have a mod at the moment. Thank you so much, Steffi, for being a mod. Oh, thank you, Jessica. I called you Jessie. I hope you don't mind, or do you prefer Jessica? Let me know. I'm Debs. If you want to call me Debs, call me Debs. That's okay with me. So, yeah, this guy was saying that these three guys, it's all a scam because they're all rich and famous and they all exposed the government with their conspiracy theories and so on. And I'm going to be doing a video about that, hopefully during the week. And it's just ridiculous that when we look at Tate, both Tates, he always talks about the Matrix, that he's being attacked by the Matrix. He is the Matrix. He is the Matrix. Now, I'm not saying that the press out there is anything other than, a lot of it is lies and stuff that we know the Murdoch-owned press. We know that a lot of it, right-wing press and so on. So a lot of us on the left and most people who watch my channel and are on my channel tend to be left-wing, as I am. But if you're right-wing, that's fine. As I said, come and have some discourse. Let's talk about it. Let's, show me the proof, the evidence that you have that these, charges against Tate are false or have been, dropped, because so many of the tater-totters will say they've been dropped and they haven't, which is quite evident with the Crown prosecution having to wait for the Tates to finish their court cases and that in Romania before they are extradited here to the UK. And the fact that the Tates have gone back to Romania, because they have to go back every so often, I think it's every 30 days, to appear in front of the court to say that they're, facing up to these charges. What does it show? I mean, it could show that they think they're innocent, but it also could show that they're a bit scared. Maybe they are a bit scared. Yeah, it's because Tate himself will say he's innocent, he's not guilty, and I did play that on my video that I released yesterday. It's 29 minutes long. Sorry, it's such a long video, but I did play it on there, some clips of an interview that he had with, I can't remember her name now, but she is a podcaster and she's based in Dubai. And it makes me sad that women are blinded by the truth, because that's all I can think is that they're blinded by the truth. Yeah, Billy, it could take 2 years or more. I mean, it's already been a couple of years that they've been investigating this. I think there's a date set for, I want to say the 19th of March, but I could be wrong. Not 100% sure. I will need to check with the other guys who do the investigating, because it will be on the website, which is in Romanian. So difficult to, read what's on there when it's in a foreign language I should probably learn. So yeah, these cases, there's so much evidence. I think I've said before that there's 77,000 pages of evidence against the Tates. That includes transcripts of their cell phone calls, of their WhatsApp messages, and so on and so on. Not to mention the footage of them, the actual video footage, which is out there on the internet, where they say that they do these things. So just finishing the rest of this article, Romanian courts have issued an order to extradite the two to the UK once their court case is concluded there, British prosecutors said the pair moved to Romania in 2016. Lawyers claim the brothers are at a disadvantage because British prosecutors have not shared any information with them about the charges. And in fact, Tate on this podcast stated that some of the charges were from 2008. No, they're not. They're from 2012 and 2015. They're in that time frame. These are historic allegations, and our clients are not even being told who the supposed victims are, the Holborn Adams law firm said in a statement. This demonstrates a different approach on the basis of the profile of our clients. British prosecutors authorised charges in January last year against the brothers, who are dual US and British citizens, but the Crown Prosecution Service has only just announced the charges. Something that's very, very important is the evidence has to be overwhelming that the CPS will actually take it to court. It has to be overwhelming. They will not just take these kind of crimes to court if there is no evidence. So whoever is saying that, oh, it's a Mickey Mouse court, it's not. CPS are the Crown Prosecution Services. They work for the King. It's not like America. The Holborn Adams law firm added that the Tates would return to the UK when their cases in Romania concluded, and that they would be aggressively defended. The former kickboxers have millions of followers on social media. Tate has drawn a larger following than with self-confessed misogyny. He is a misogynist. Therefore, that means that he dislikes women with a vengeance. So he has said that. He has had intercourse with many, many women who have said that this was non-consensual intercourse. And a lot of, and I'm going to say not all men, but a lot of men don't want to believe that. Don't want to believe that that happens. And, you know, the good men don't want to believe that. But as women, we were warned as children by our parents, and my dad warned me, because they know what men are capable of. Sorry, let's have a look here. Maybe there's some sort of heritage thing in boys that is attracted to the patriarchal thing. I think it is, Scott, I think a lot of it is that it is ingrained in us through our family history. I think a lot of it's changing now, and a lot of it seems to have started changing with Gen X and onwards. And I do think that a lot of the Gen Zs are feeling very, very left out of things and are very, very sad at the world and what they are suffering with at the moment, which is really sad. And so they are turning to influencers like Tate to sort of give them some sort of hope. So I understand their attraction to that kind of lifestyle. But at the same time, these things need to be addressed at school. Jealous of my pendant. It's actually Temu. No, not Temu. Shine. Couple of quid. Jessica, that was so sad to endure. Sorry about that. Hi, Ellie. Lovely to see you. Ellie, I think I'm pronouncing it L. Lovely to have you on the feed tonight. Great to see you. So, yeah, he is a self-confessed misogynist, and the meaning of misogyny is the hatred of women. Misandry is the hatred of men. So, and women can be misogynists as well. So it doesn't just apply to men. It does also apply to women. Trip, you did the butterfly thingy with your hands after you timed. I love that. Scott, forgive the terminology, but if a young lad can't get intercourse, the last thing he wants to believe is it's his fault, so blame women. I agree with you there. I do completely agree with you. You know, however, there has to be a certain way of treating a woman and, you know, behaving around a woman and understanding that no means no. And instead of these influencers telling them, and this happens, I've seen it, many influencers do this, is if a woman says no, go back and try again. But no means no. Right, so I'm going to play some audio footage now, if I can find the video. Bear with me, I seem to have lost it. Of Andrew Tate excusing himself and claiming his innocence. So I hope you can hear this, and I hope no advertisements come up, because that does tend to happen. Bear with me.
This
oh no,
litany of astonishing.
That's to come up in a bit. That's at Russell Brand. Let's go back to Tate. Sorry, wrong. I've got loads of tabs at the top of my laptop ready to go. So bear with me. Sorry, guys.
It does not care about women. It allows grooming gangs to groom at length for decades. They don't care. They won't even investigate it. They won't look at it. They open the borders and allow in millions of military-age men, God knows where they're from, without passports, no one knows their criminal record, from questionable countries, which obviously have a misogynistic worldview, because I'm the world's worst misogynist. They allow these people to roam our streets. They pay for them to come, and they pay for them to live for free, which makes women unsafe. They have no time to police any of this. They have no time to investigate any of this, but they have time to drag up allegations on me from 15 years ago for talking about these issues. If they cared about women, they'd fix the issues. They don't care about women. Do not buy it for a second. They don't care about women. They don't care about young girls being safe. They don't care about combating misogyny. They don't care about any of that. They care about control and locking up anyone who highlights the problems inside of the UK. It is so broken. They are not trying to fix the problems. Instead, they're trying to get rid of the people who talk about the problems. The UK government does not give a single about women and girls, or they'd stop the boats. They don't give a single about women and girls, or they'd stop the grooming gangs. Why are they dragging up allegations on me from 15? They would.
And there we have an advert. Just bear with me, guys. Typical. I knew it was going to happen. Let's get through this advert. Don't know how long it's going to be. Sorry, I need quicker fingers.
Money if they lie. And after an extensive investigation, contacting over 1,000 women, they found 3 girls who were prepared to lie. What about the 997 who said I'm a nice guy? This is a setup. This is a stitch up. And do not buy their garbage for a second that they give a single about the young women inside the UK, because they don't care. Our streets run with blood. Women are unsafe. People get stabbed to death. Crime is out of control. Does the media talk about murderers every day? No. Does the media talk about drug dealers every day? No. Does the media talk about the crime committed by the migrants we let in every day? No. The media talks about me every day. Why? Because I highlight the problem. Not because I am a problem, but because I tell you there's a problem.
A legend in his own mind. The media doesn't talk about him every day. The media is only talking about him at the moment because he has been charged. But I mean, you know, he claims that the government doesn't care about women and girls. Yes, it does. That's why he's being charged. These kind of cases, and I have said this before, take ages to get to court, if ever, because the onus of the evidence, producing the evidence, is on the alleged victims. And so few people believe them. You know, I've said it before, women very, very rarely go to the police with these cases for a number of reasons. The main two: one, they know that it's going to take ages. that they are going to be treated like the perpetrator, they're not going to be treated like a victim, and that they're going to have to produce the evidence, which 9 times out of 10 is not available, unless they have actually got physical bruising. Number 2, they're scared. They're scared and embarrassed. They're afraid that their perpetrator is going to come after them in some other way and unalive them. I was watching another video earlier on today. It sounds like all I do is watch videos, but I did go for a run and I did try and put up my new tent today, which actually went well. But men are claiming that women are unhappy being lonely, but we're not. We're afraid of being lonely, apparently. No, we're afraid of men who will unalive us. That's why we choose the bear. And I'm not saying all men will. There are many, many men out there who love women and who are aware of these issues. And a lot of them do help us. And we say thank you so much for that. But we need more men to help us, more men to call out that horrible, despicable, disgusting behaviour. Excuse me. So he claims that they're not interested in the grooming gangs. Yes, they are. Sorry, guys, frog in my throat. Yes, they are. Again, it comes down to the difficulty at charging the grooming gangs. And he insinuates with that the grooming gangs are all foreigners. They're not. The vast majority of grooming gangs are run by white men, white British men. The ones that have been highlighted in the press have been run by Asian grooming gangs and so on and so on. Because if it bleeds, it leads. Those things stir up the hatred within the United Kingdom population, creating that racial hatred that we see the press do. I know Graham talks about this a lot, so I'm just, reiterating what he says. I mean, I'm not, it is obvious that that's what they do, as with the Liverpool issue, which I'm going to come to a bit later as well. But the newspapers will always lead with something that will sell their headlines. That's it. That is what newspapers do. And especially newspapers today, information is so accessible on the internet. At the touch of a button, we get that information straight away. I think back to 9/11, those of you who were alive and were watching. Bye, Jessica. Thank you for joining. Enjoy your holiday. Very jealous. Those of us who saw 9/11, I did have a mobile phone then. And a friend of mine rang me and said, "Are you watching the TV?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not." He said, "Put the TV on." I put the TV on, and there I saw the collapse of the first tower and then the second tower. And I rang my mom and told her to put the TV on. So it was all big word of mouth. It wasn't like it is now, where you get this flash on your screen or this alert on your, feed saying, this has happened, that's happened. And, like I said, if it bleeds, it leads. That's the way that journalism works, or that newspaper sellers work. Journalists will try to dig into the actual truth behind the story. And it's sad that we have to face this misinformation, this false dichotomy that people put out there. Oh, he didn't do it, he's not guilty, and so on and so on and so on. And yeah, he's innocent until proven guilty. That's the truth. Unfortunately, the women, the victims, the alleged victims, are seen as the perpetrators, because the Tates will turn around and say such things as, oh, they just want money. If they just wanted money, why would they wait from 2012 to now to get these charges through the Crown Prosecution Services? So I'm going to read some comments here. Bear with me. Bear with me a second. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, he is gross. They don't care about women being safe. No, they don't. They don't. It is just a soundbite that can get out there, and he can then have that clipped and put onto other things, and his little tater tot fans will go, oh yeah, you know, he's pointing all this other stuff out. And you know, on a legal level here in the United Kingdom, I'm not talking about the rest of the world, their legal systems are different, but here in the United Kingdom, the Tory government, you know, cut down funding for the police services here in the country, and so there are less policemen out on the streets, and as I say, these kind of cases are very difficult to prove. When you are investigating something like a grooming gang, there is so much investigating that needs to happen, so much intricate work that needs to happen in order to discover the gang, find the perpetrators, and then prosecute them in a way that the CPS, the Crown Prosecution Services, will ensure that they do actually, you know, go to jail and pay for their crimes. Otherwise, it's just a waste of the court's time. The CPS will take that information, look through it, and go, oh, no, we can't prosecute this because this is, you know, outstanding, and so on. So this is why it takes so long for these kind of cases to come to court. Tripp, the pattern in speech in most of his podcasts that younger lads follow, especially on the right, the speech to me sounds like it forms the same overall vocals regardless of words. It does. It follows a pattern, and it's anger. There's a huge amount of anger in their voices when they talk about it. It all stems from this testosterone heavy level of, I'm so angry because I can't get what I want, and you must do this. If you want a woman in your life, you must do that. Look around you, you know, 99% of women are married to the guy next door. You know, it's only the top elite sort of bracket of women who marry the other top elite bracket of women. Look at Hollywood, you know, they all tend to date each other. It's the world that they know, and their relationships generally don't go well. Some of them do, but the vast majority don't. Narcissism. And many people, young people, will look at that lifestyle and think, well, I want that lifestyle. And it's not that easy to access that lifestyle. I'm at an age, Trump equals fart, off topic, but yeah, he does. Not nice, you effing lovely Andy and your bro, what a plank, definitely. Naveen, I love women, thank you. It's wonderful that we know that there are many men out there that love women. We know this. And that is, you know, men who love their mothers, who love their grandmothers, who love their sisters, need to perhaps ask themselves, if, you know, Tate was doing this to my sister, how would I feel about that? I think that's the way we've got to look, because everybody seems to put these people into these boxes and say, well, it doesn't affect me because they're over there. Those women were trafficked. They were coerced into the role that they have played in the Tate empire, if you want to call it that. Naveen, you were not alive, but you know. Sorry, I'm just looking at these messages. We need witch goth. Oh, thank you, Jessica. That's lovely. You've made my day. Some conservatives used to talk in a way that made you switch off. Yes, they did. I remember my granddad, when I was a kid, he used to listen to Parliament on the radio in the kitchen. He'd come in from the allotment and he'd be doing his stuff in the kitchen. And all I remember is listening to sheep. It sounded like they were all going bah, 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 but meanwhile they were going here, here. So yeah, that's back in the day when politicians had marbles in their mouths, all of them. Sorry. Wonder if they are mimicking or have had the same training by the same business. Possibly, possibly. It suits the narrative of the owners, yeah. Scary for the victims to come forward, and you can only imagine the pain. Yeah, Scott, it does take a huge amount of courage for women to come forward about these things. I talk about my experiences openly, but I'm a very strong woman, I think, and I'm not afraid to speak my mind, and that's the way I have always been in my life. I've always been outspoken. I'm stubborn. I'm a Taurian. What can I say? It's reading my star sign thing today, and I'm like, yeah, that's me. That's definitely me. L, narcissist. No, I'm trans. I'm not what you say. Welcome to the grey rock method. Sorry, is that has somebody said something that they shouldn't say? L, Steph, let me know. John Major on Spitting Image. Yeah, that was brilliant. There's a right way to love a person, though. It must be on a level playing field of respect. Exactly. It needs to be on that level playing field of respect. And L, stick around, because there's an interesting story that I'm going to read about trans in paganism, which I saw today and I'm quite shocked about. So I think the biggest thing that we can do in our society is call out these predators, because that's what they are. They are apex predators. They want to hold on to the patriarchy. They want to hold on to misogyny because it gives them, or they feel it gives them, power. No, just regular. Okay. So I'm going to come to Russell Brand now, because he was in court this week for the charges that he faces. And this is an article from The Independent, another article from The Independent. Yeah, it's The Independent. Russell Brand pleads not guilty to sex offence charges. Oops, I said the S word, including grape and SA. This is by Tara Cobham. Now, when he arrived at court and when he left court, he didn't speak to anybody. He was wearing dark glasses. I was actually following a sort of half an hour by half an hour feed on my phone that he arrived in this black suit with his shirt open, and you would have thought he could have put a tie on going to court. But anyway, the one thing that annoyed me the most, and I don't know, and I'm sorry, this is very fashion conscious, me being a goth, is he was wearing brown shoes. I don't get wearing black clothes and brown shoes. Please explain it to me. I just think it looks odd. It looks to me as if they've stood in poop or in mud. But that's just me. Apex, now they're beta with a complex. True. You didn't see anything nasty. That's okay. Didn't see anything offensive either. Thanks, guys. Just keep on top of that. I don't want, we need to feel safe in this environment. We all, I'm pagan and I'm a goth. And I'm been picked on my whole life. Not that I care. But, and I'm a witch. Get called all sorts of names. So don't think that I am, hoping that we create a safe space for everybody to talk about and be understood from their own perspective with their own beliefs. Sometimes people respond to the presenter and it can out of context with the chat. Yeah, and Billy as well, there is a delay, and I'm trying to look at 3 different screens, and yeah, it is difficult to, when you've got something to say that you want to say, and then you need to interject with comments and things. So yeah, but I know you guys, we all chat on Politics Social. So yeah, Naveen, I know you're new on here, and that's great. I thank you so much for being on here. So Russell Brand has pleaded not guilty to sex offence charges, including grape and SA. The comedian and actor is facing 1 count each of grape, indecent assault and oral grape, as well as 2 counts of SA relating to 4 separate women between 1999 and 2005. And again, I want to reiterate that here in the United Kingdom, there is no statute of limitations on these crimes. There is in the States. It used to be 3 years. It's now been changed to 5 years in the States. That is down to, what's her name? It's gone out of my head. Oh my goodness, what's her name? Evan Rachels Wood, who laid charges against Marilyn Manson, but those charges were dropped because it was outside of the time frame. But she started a campaign, and that 3 years has now been extended to 5 years for those cases to come to court. And Manson is another story that I must cover as well. But coming back to Brand, I've got a video that I did on Brand in my playlists. Go and have a watch of that, because I do talk about all of the issues. There was a Channel 4 documentary on it, and it is linked in that video that I recorded, that one of the women who was orally raped said no. She said no. And he just continued with that. And then afterwards, he said that he was, I don't know if he said he was sorry, but he really enjoyed it. And he just wanted to see her cry and her mascara run. And to me, that is something that Prawn has a lot to answer for. Now, I'm studying psychology. It is obviously, I'm going to be dealing with a lot of women who have had these kind of experiences, and Prawn is so easily accessible these days. When I was a kid, it was on the top shelf. You know, in South Africa, they had stars on the nipples. They weren't allowed to show nipples. And now, click of a button, and there it is. And there are a lot of scenes that show women with their mascara running, and a lot of men find it attractive because it's a control thing. It's a, I am powerful, I am stronger than you. And where do we stop this? How do we stop this? Sorry, just having a look here. What about brown suede trainers, black cargo pants and a tie-dye purple t-shirt, sunglasses and a straw hat? Sound like Wurzel Gummidge, Trip. I don't know if you know who Wurzel Gummidge was. It's a sign of something sick going on in the head. Yeah, it is. If that kind of thing is consensual, sorry, I've got a hair here somewhere. If it's consensual between two people, if those two people have agreed that this is okay, then fair enough, you know. You ain't no Aunt Sally. You do know who Wurzel Gummidge is. Maybe I could be Aunt Sally. But yeah, it is, if two people consent to that, fair enough. But to do it to a person in your life without their consent. Prawn to associate is common. Yeah. Brand. Yeah. You got consent. Not that level. Yeah. Yeah. Coming back to the article, 49 wearing a dark grey suit appeared in the dock at Southwark Crown Court on Friday, flanked by two officers. He spoke only to confirm his name and enter his not guilty pleas, standing still and looking straight ahead as he spoke. As the hearing finished, the comedian replaced his sunglasses before exiting the dock and walking slowly past reporters out of the courtroom. Brand had appeared at Westminster Magistrates Court earlier this month, where he heard details of the allegations against him, including that he allegedly raped a woman in a hotel room when she attended a Labour Party conference. He is also accused of grabbing a TV worker's mammary glands before dragging her into a toilet and allegedly orally graping her. That might be a different one to the one that I read about, but that I saw on the Channel 4 documentary. A radio station worker claims Brand grabbed her by the face, pushed her against a wall and kissed her before allegedly groping her mammaries and her buttocks. Another alleged victim accuses him of indecent assault after he allegedly grabbed her forearm and attempted to drag her into a male toilet. Arriving at court on Friday, Brand held a book in his hand and looked straight ahead without taking questions from reporters. Leaving the courthouse later, he walked slowly past members of the media and public gathered outside before getting into a car that drove off. And he had previously told his 11.2 million followers on X that he welcomed the opportunity to prove his innocence. He was granted conditional bail to appear for a pre-trial review hearing on the 20th of May 2026. So we now have to wait an entire year for this to go ahead. So those poor victims have to wait yet again. Yet again, the victims are forgotten about. And don't forget what Brand did to, I can't remember his name now, the guy that used to play Manuel in Fawlty Towers. Can somebody remind me of his name? I mean, this, you know, obviously he's a deviant in several different ways. Sachs, yes, that's it, Andrew Sachs, thanks, Scott. Scott, I'm not sure you can or should stop prawn, but it's the type of prawn that can be put out, and it's by the same people we've been talking about. Yeah. Trip, what about all those people that looked past his poopy behaviour time and time again, his contracted employees? Yeah, same as Savile, same as Gary Glitter, the same as all of those people. Don't say anything because, you know, this person draws in money for our company and we need them. So yeah, it is, they're protected, they're in these protected societies. And even if a family member is a rapist, the family, the mother perhaps, and the father and the sisters and brothers will protect them and say, no, that's not true, they're not like that. That often happens. Yeah, and that happened with the person I'm going to speak about next. But at the moment, I just want to play footage of Russell Brand talking about him denying the charges. I did start it earlier on, and I bet an advert comes up, and I'm sorry if it does, guys.
Amidst this litany of astonishing, rather baroque attacks are some very serious allegations that I absolutely refute. These allegations pertain to the time when I was working in the mainstream, when I was in the newspapers all the time, when I was in the movies, and as I've written about extensively in my books, I was very, very promiscuous. Now, during that...
He was promiscuous, but what is he saying? He's excusing his behaviour because that was a different time of his life. Now, coming back to Brand again, he is supposedly clean, he's married now, he's got children now, and he has now converted to Christianity. When I look at Christianity, especially conversion into new Christianity or reborn Christianity, the past sins are then forgiven. Jesus saves. So the belief is that Christ died on the cross for our sins. So does he want people to forgive him for these things? Is that what he's saying here? Just something to think about.
Time of promiscuity, the relationships I had were absolutely always consensual. I was always transparent about that then, almost too transparent. And I'm being transparent about it now as well. And to see that transparency metastasized into something criminal that I absolutely deny makes me question, is there another agenda at play? Amidst this litany of...
Is there another agenda at play? And we come back to what Tate has said, that it's the Matrix. Brand is saying the same thing. He's also a conspiracy theorist. On one of my videos that I put out today, somebody commented there, have you had your vaccines? I'm like, yeah, I have. I've had them all. I'm still here. I don't have cancer. And, you know, we could talk about COVID. I'm not going to talk about COVID, but because that's such a topic. But, you know, it's almost as if these people tag onto something because it just serves a purpose for them. Like, you know, oh, what are these people doing? Scientifically, there is no evidence. You know, there are a few small trials that have been done, a few small, what is the word I'm looking for? It's just gone, it begins with an R. Research, you know, trials that have been done into this. It's a relatively new virus. Well, it is a new virus. That's what, you know, novel means. And it's a new vaccine. So there are going to be issues with it. But you know what? I'm quite happy to be a guinea pig for a vaccine if my mum is not unalived by a virus. You know, I think it's that, again, thinking of other people and not yourself. And he you know, to me, he is projecting. He's projecting this and saying, oh, I'm being accused of this because I'm exposing certain things that some weird government is doing. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't a weird agenda going on, because we look at the people like Rupert Murdoch and like Trump and like Putin and like all the rest of them. They all have their own agendas, though, and it's all about money. So, you know, they just want money. That's it. And you know what? They are going to unalive soon, and they will pass over, and they can't take that money with them. But there will always be somebody else to step up and fill their shoes. Let's have a look. These convos you're doing should be done in schools. I agree. A start of comprehensive schools and in simple form. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. Jesus saves, but Pearson nets the rebound. Scott, I did the born again thing many years ago, and guess what? They use the same methods of those we're talking about. It's insidious. It is. Christianity is a cult. It is a cult. I don't want to go into the whole theological history of Christianity and so on. That is a whole series on its own. But it stems from patriarchy. It stems from men wanting to control women. Because previously to that, many, many, many religions and belief systems around the world were female-oriented. The goddess was important. Consensual is regular, brand was not regular. That's true. Coercion, isn't it looked at more seriously now? It is, but again, it's something that is difficult to prove. If it's difficult to prove, you know, if there's no actual physical evidence, such as video or you know, verbal evidence, that something that can be taken off of a phone, and don't forget AI. You know, I received a video from Corey Taylor from Slipknot a couple of weeks ago saying, hi, Deborah. I'm like, whoa, hang on. He's not got my name. Anyway, when I checked the video, I'm like, he's older than that now. But it's so good. It sounded so much like him. I wish it had have been him. But anyway, he's married. And it was like, so I was having this conversation and, like, you know, oh, you have to pay if you want a meet and greet. I'm like, oh, here we go, paying that Nigerian prince. And yes, the phone number was Nigeria. Scott, they use a lot of NLP techniques. They do. And it is trauma. And that's why people like Tate will pick on younger women and girls. And that's why grooming gangs pick on younger women and girls, because they do not have that ability to recognize what is actually going on. Get you in when you're at a weak point and make you feel wanted, validated. Yeah, and you know what? I actually experienced that myself from my first serious relationship. He was older than me, and I was so naive, really naive. I can't believe how naive I was at the time. And he did coerce me. And yeah, I'm able to recognize that now, but at the time, couldn't recognize that. So I want to talk about the Liverpool guy, the guy that ploughed into the all the people at the Liverpool Football Club's victory parade. And I know it's something that Graham Hughes did talk about on Politics Social, but I feel that it does link to what I'm talking about, especially with Brand talking about, you know, the grooming gangs, because he was bringing race into that, and so was Tate. I mean, Tate is the one after Alice, Bibi and Elsie had been unalived last year, bless their little hearts. My sister is actually friends with the woman whose wall was broken down with the bricks. She works with her. And so, yeah, we were quite closely wouldn't say involved, but my sister was. And I did go to Southport soon after, and I did go and visit and lay flowers at the memorial that they had put into the square in Southport, on the main street. And Tate had gone online, and he was driving one of his Bugattis, and he said online, I think it was live even, that, you know, he's apparently Muslim and blah, 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 blah. And of course, Froggage heard that. And then now Froggage obviously has a little bit of noose about him, because he didn't say it was that. He insinuated that it was. And then, of course, all those people piled in online, and she's been put in prison, and I agree with that. She should be, because she needs to be made an example of, that things like that cannot be said, even though she took that post down a couple of hours later. I can't remember her name now. So yeah, they like to stir, they like to cause hatred and division. That's what the right wing does. That is what the right wing does. And Tate is right wing. Froggage is right wing. Russell Brand used to be on the left. The Million Man March that happened, I think it was back in 2010, you know, with the whole anonymous videos that came out at the time. He was very much supporting Jeremy Corbyn. And then he seemed to go through some weird thing. Lucy Connolly, thank you, Billy. Yes, that's her name. Yeah, get you at a weak point and make you feel wanted and validated. Yeah. Scott, have you seen the comments? You've not tend to stay away from the abyss of comments. You'll check them out. There's some that are really funny, Scott. You might enjoy some of them. Commented occasionally just for the algorithm, for transparency. Basically, the biggest thing that you could do is go like those videos and just watch a little bit at the beginning. You don't have to watch the whole thing. Just a little bit of the beginning puts it up on YouTube's algorithm. A short, yeah, I had a lot of negative. Yeah, I always go on and make comments. Like the one guy said to me, "Are you on drugs?" I'm like, "No, I don't take drugs." So this driver in Liverpool, has he been named? Because I don't see a name here. But this is from the Mail, the Fail. I actually do pay to receive this junk, because obviously I need to know what the other side is saying. Liverpool parade suspect is a company director. So that makes him special, because he's a director of a company. Driver held after dozens hurt in a car attack is revealed to be married, father of 3 from quiet cul-de-sac, whose arrest has left neighbours stunned. And there we go. If that person had have been brown or black, there would be a completely different headline. Even if that person was a company director and a family man and lived in a quiet cul-de-sac. He's got teenage children. He's 53 years old. I did watch the footage, and I'd not watched it before. I'd stayed away from it because I was just so shocked at the whole thing. And just, I have a fear of being run over by a bus more than a car, but I do have a fear. One day when I was a kid, one of my neighbours, she'd had her baby and she was coming home, and the ambulance was coming down the street, and me being a kid, I'm on my little tricycle thing, and I just drove across the road in front of this ambulance. What was I thinking? So this guy lives in a smart £300,000 house, 4-bedroom detached property on a neat estate, described as a family man with well-behaved children who must have panicked in the moment. Doesn't matter that he was on drugs. When was this dated? This is dated 28th of May. So he was driving under the influence on suspicion of multiple attempted unalivings, driving under the influence of drugs and dangerous driving, after detectives were given an extension to question him further. I'm just skimming through this quickly. It's completely out of character, one said. They are a nice family. The boys are well behaved. He is a fantastic guy. He came over to help us once when our alarm went off. I know he did the same for our immediate neighbours too. It just doesn't make any sense. Maybe he's had some kind of breakdown. Maybe he just panicked in the moment. The family is lovely. The whole thing is so sad for his wife and children, for all those people who were hurt and injured. I mean, you know, projection. How does he know how nice that person is? Because he doesn't see that person behind closed doors. Yeah, he is an ex-Marine and he runs a cap company. Yeah, thanks, Steffi, for reminding me about that. The company's Twitter account follows Farage and Musk and Tate. Yeah, but they won't mention that, will they? They won't mention that in the newspapers, no, because he was white and he's a dad and he lives in a posh house. It's just the double standards that we have are terrifying. And I know older people, boomers and further back, will read these headlines and believe them. But like I say, my generation, Gen X generation, in fact, the majority of Gen Xers I know, which is a huge amount, we are able to see through that rot. You know, we grew up with punk. We grew up with new romantics, goth. You know, we grew up in a time when we could start dressing however we wanted to in ridiculous clothing. My God, some of the things that I dressed up in. But yeah, these double standards. And it is just so unfair that this happens, that these certain part of society is protected. Wait till we get on the taco stuff. Yeah, I'm coming to that in a minute because this is, I'm going to talk about P. Diddy. Just a recap of what is happening with him. I actually have not been following this story. I've been following the Tate story for a long time. So the Diddy thing came in, you know, after that, and there's a lot of these sort of stories to follow and stay on top of. But I'm going to just play you some footage here. The sound quality is really bad. Sorry for the noise, because I know this makes noise. Just bear with me a second.
Where music mogul P. Diddy is on trial. His ex-girlfriend, singer Cassie Ventura, is the star witness in her former partner's sex trafficking trial. Diddy, real name Sean Combs, was caught on hotel surveillance attacking Cassie in 2016. A list of 190 celebrity names were shown to potential jurors. None of these celebrities are suspected of any wrongdoing, though each name is anticipated to be mentioned throughout the trial. A few of the names mentioned are Michael B. Jordan, who went on a date with Cassie Ventura in 2015. Mike Myers, the actor known for playing Austin Powers, was mentioned for a scene in his 2002 movie that makes a joking reference to Diddy. Kid Cudi, another possible romantic link to Ventura, as well as a potential link to a car explosion involving Combs. Kanye West, who released a song with Diddy back in March that also featured his 11-year-old daughter, North. While these names are mentioned in the trial, they are unlikely to appear in court.
So, sorry guys, this is going to make noise again. They are obviously going to be talking about these people, possibly, and I don't know because obviously don't have access to it, but possibly as, you know, witnesses for the defendant. I don't know, or witnesses for the prosecution, but they are not directly involved in the case. But his former assistant Mia, who that is a given name to hide her true identity, told jurors that she suffered from CPTSD, that's complex PTSD, as she returned to the stand on Friday, closing out the third week of testimony in the music mogul's trafficking trial. It's a pseudonym, that's it, pseudonym. I was going to say nom de plume, but that's authors. The examination of Mia began after proceedings resumed inside Manhattan Federal Court, but she was later aggressively cross-examined by Combs's lawyer, who sought to discredit her claims using her own social media posts. And of course, that's what they'll do. And that's why so many women do not report these things. because of social media posts, because of responses that they may have given to their abuser in a relationship, because of the fact that they've probably let them back into their life. And that's a trauma bond. That is a specific thing that is created between the abuser and the victim. Mia, who worked for Coombs for 8 years, previously alleged that she was forced, to perform a sex act on, I said the S word again, on Coombs, and in another incident was allegedly raped in the spare room of his Los Angeles home. Coombs is facing trafficking, transportation to engage in prostitution and racketeering conspiracy charges. He was arrested in September 2024 as federal authorities alleged he threatened, abused and coerced victims to fulfill his intercausal desires between 2004 and 2024. Coombs has denied any accusations of wrongdoing, but we all have seen the video of him hurting his, I think it was Mia who he hurt actually, outside a hotel room. So we have all seen that. That's been on the internet. Yeah. But, interesting, Trump, Taco Man, has not ruled out a pardon for Diddy. This again is from the Mail. Bear with me a second. I just have to find the footage here. Here we go. Bear with me. Ah, of course we have an advertisement. Sorry, guys. Sorry, you're just going to have to listen to this. They look like the Teletubbies, but fluffy ones with bunny ears. I don't even know what it's advertising. Pop Mart.
You mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself.
Sorry, I'm gonna.
You mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I'd look at what's happening, and I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, he sort of, that relationship busted up from what I read. I don't know, he didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. You know, it's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well because of what we're doing. So I can't, it's not a popularity contest. So I don't know, I would certainly look at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact on me.
You mentioned once.
So, the orange one being a convicted rapist himself, is basically saying that, yeah, he would look at it. I mean, he won't release the Epstein files at all. And, you know, I just feel that this whole world is so sad that women have to put up with this from men, and that we are constantly berated for it, constantly berated for it, and told that, oh, you're going to end up alone, and apparently that this is the scariest thing for a woman. No, it really isn't. It's not scary at all. We'd rather be alone than be with somebody who will abuse us, or want us to be their mother. I've got a load of content that I need to record. I've just had so much stuff going on, as you know. So this is, you know, the fact that Trump and I think the media has a lot to do with this as well, because the reporter asked him the question. If he hadn't have asked him the question, it wouldn't have come up, would it? But no, he had to ask that question. It's the same as when back when Trump was visiting here in, I don't know when, and some ridiculous reporter asked him about the NHS. Would he want the NHS? And Trump responded with, nothing's off the table. And it's like, if you didn't ask him that, it wouldn't have come up. Why would you ask him that? Infuriating. He has a Secretary of Pardons. Yeah. L, did I see the post? The one, which post was that? The one where he was throwing her down the hallway. She gave the danger signal, called 911. He followed her, stopped at a gas station and took her away to safety. Trump won't release the Epstein files because he himself is implicated. Yeah, we all know that. The last thing I want to cover before I go, because I want my pudding, I've got a lovely piece of raspberry cheesecake to have, is about, I picked this up this afternoon and I'm like, OMG, I can't believe this. This is from the Mail Online. I first saw the article in the Telegraph. I did not have a chance to go and search for this in other media outlets, but there is a mention here from the Pagan Federation, which is the body that basically protects all pagans in this country. You can subscribe to the Pagan Federation and they send out quarterly magazines. I said quarterly? No. They send out 8 magazines a year that cover all the pagan stuff, and they are there to protect pagans in law issues. So this is from today. That's why I've not found it anywhere else. No, from yesterday, from yesterday. Practicing witch has spell of trouble as she is thrown off Druid training course after member accused her of being transphobic. A practicing witch has been left horrified after she claims she was thrown off a Druid training course after being accused of transphobia when she spoke up about single-sex spaces. Now, I'm going to read through this, but I don't know what the conversation was. Angela Howard, a second-generation witch whose mother was a high priestess who ran a coven in the 80s, turned to the religion hoping to find spiritual healing in 2020 from the faith, even training to become a bard, a division focusing on storytelling, poetry and performance. It's the Ovate of Bards, OBOD, Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids. So she was horrified when she was banned from areas of the faith after speaking up about her experiences when a pagan group said trans women being women is not up for debate. The furious post made after the Supreme Court ruling that trans women are not legally women cited their unequivocal support for trans people and belief that trans women are women, trans men are men, and all non-binary genders are valid. In a post titled Statement of Support for Trans People from the Pagan Federation, which I'll read in a minute, they said that their values were rooted in respect for the divine, adding that the gods and spirits we work with tell them that identity is part of their spiritual path, and rightly so. Devoted Druids were left horrified as the hardline group banned or blocked that Pagan Federation are hardly hardline. Group banned or blocked anyone who raised an objection in a comment. They said, we are banning people who are being hateful and or bigoted for so far. I mean, they have the right to do that, and it's hardly hard-lined. She told The Times she raised the issue citing her own experiences, that there were times when women needed separate facilities such as changing rooms, women refuges and prisons. Now, I don't think she cites her own experiences. I don't think we find out what they are. Excuse me. In a comment still visible beneath the group's post, a member has said Miss Howard and another woman were bigoted TERFs and need banning. Responding, the Pagan Federation said they had been banned. Shortly after sharing the statement, the group confirmed that they had banned 4 members so far for making comments they deemed to be intolerance, bigotry or hatred, and that they were acting as fast as we can. Miss Howard was also banned from the British Druid Order private Facebook group after criticising an article where the Supreme Court decision was proclaimed to be a victory for bigotry. She claimed that following the incident, she had been banned from her online account with the British Druid Order, where she was accessing course materials so she could carry out her bardic training. In a written complaint, the BDO said, she said, as reported by The Times, it's profoundly ironic that with modern paganism and druidry, movements that should be committed to liberation, healing and truth, we are witnessing a kind of spiritual witch hunt against those who speak up for the rights, safety and dignity of women and girls. The unanimous Supreme Court ruling last month found that woman and man refer to biological women and men, and that the concept of sex is binary. Following the ruling, the Equality and Human Rights Commission, EHRC, has issued new guidance stating unequivocally that in workplaces and places open to public, trans women, biological men should not be permitted to use women's facilities. Under the Pagan Federation's post, commenters vented their fury at the drastic policies, and rightly so. I'm going to post this article because it's quite long, actually. It goes on quite long. But I just want to read through the Pagan Federation comments here. Just bear with me while I scroll back up. Statement of support for trans people from the Pagan Federation. In light of the recent ruling by the UK Supreme Court, which defines woman solely in terms of biological sex, the Pagan Federation stands firmly and unequivocally in support of all trans people. We know that this decision is already causing deep hurt and concern within our community, and we want to be absolutely clear. Trans women are women, trans men are men, and all non-binary genders are valid. This is not up for debate within the Pagan Federation. Our values are a faith-based, inclusive organisation, are rooted in respect for the divine in all its forms, and we honour the lived truths of all people. Gender is sacred, fluid and deeply personal. The gods and spirits we work with teach us that transformation, identity and embodiment are all part of the spiritual path. We recognise and celebrate the journeys of trans people as just as valid, meaningful and worthy as any other. The Pagan Federation exists to provide spiritual community support and advocacy that means standing up in moments like these to say you are welcome here, you are valued and you are safe with us. We will continue to hold space for, and so on. I have friends who are trans witches, and I don't understand this whole issue. I really, really don't understand this whole issue. Elle, been there? Yeah, Elle, I think you and Steffi are both trans, aren't you? You're me, you're not a debate, said this years ago. Absolutely agree with you. EHRC offers guidance regarding toilets, it's not law. Don't forget this article is in the fail, so, you know, they spout all sorts of rubbish. And may you remain you forever, Elle. Trans follow the trans legislation, here, Elle. I did post something the other day about a lesbian who was attacked because she was thought to be male in a woman's toilets. She was beaten up and she was lesbian. So this doesn't just affect the trans community, it affects the whole of the LGBTQIA community and anybody who is on the fringes of society. Billy, there is or was a Roman trans temple under the A1 at Catterick. Oh, I didn't know that. There must be some of my mates up there that know about it then. I'll ask Nats, she'll know. Never ever followed any other. And I just don't, it makes no sense to me. I have been using toilets with trans women since the 80s when I started going to nightclubs, and I have never had any issues. Ever. Okay, granted, I am a goth and I'm weird, or was seen as weird back then, and I'm a witch. So I accept all parts of society. I can't fathom this hatred other people have of things that they don't understand. Yeah, it is because they don't understand, isn't it? It is because they don't understand. Right, I'm going to link all of these articles that I've read from today into the description box after the video, because I need to go. I'm absolutely starving, and 3 of my cats haven't been fed yet. No, 2 of them. 2 of them haven't been fed yet, so they must be starving by now. I want to say thank you so much to all of you who have been watching today. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your support. I will also add the link to the cancer research page that I shall be raising funds for throughout the month of June. Don't forget, I'm running a 10K on the 29th of June. It's the Clumber run. So if anybody's in the area and they want to come and support me at Clumber, you're more than welcome to. Wave your trans flags, wave your witchy flags, bring your broomsticks with you. You know, in witchcraft, we have a term, coming out of the broom closet, because a lot of people who are witches have felt, and some still do, that they are going to be ostracized for their belief, especially in the southern states in America, in the Bible Belt. I've got quite a lot of friends who live there who daren't come out and say they are witches because they will be, you know, ostracized for that. So you are welcome, Steph. Thank you so much. Thank you, Elle. Thank you, Scott. And for all of those that follow Politics Social, I will be on tomorrow morning, probably just watching because I've got loads to do. I don't know if Tans and Graham and Aid are going live later this evening. I've no idea, but I'll keep an eye out for that. If they are, I always watch because I love Tans. She's brilliant, and Aid's brilliant, and of course Graham's amazing. So have a wonderful Sunday evening. Have a fabulous week. I'm going to try and go live again on Tuesday at some stage. Don't know what time yet, but I will put up a post and let you all know. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for joining me today. Blessed be. Mwah. Now I have to stand up to turn the blooming phone off.